Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
Another episode of the Slovenly Gamer Podcast, folks. I am your humble host, Milton, and on this week's show, returning to record with me again to do a follow-up because we already recorded this show one time.
Yes, we did.
But the technology gods, I don't know why. I don't know what happened.
They didn't want that goodness, man. There was some good stuff in there, too.
Exactly. They didn't want the goodness, but you know, this is take two, and it's going to be just as dope as take one. You've already heard his voice. Folks, welcome back on this week's show. My guest, my friend, my buddy, my man, my mellow, and the dude who kind of hooks me up with all the, with every piece of tech information I need to know. This is the man that I talk to. This is the man that I tweet at. This is the man that I ask all the questions. And on this show, I don't know if some of you guys may remember, he came on, and in 2016, we did a whole Talking Tech with Andrew Alliance. Well, this is the follow-up to that. I know a lot of you guys enjoy that show. And on this, so in this conversation, what we're going to do is we're going to tackle the idea of what apps to look out for in 2017 and what are some of Andrew's favorite apps so far in 2017. And I know we're only like about a month into 2017, but it feels like more than that. So
yeah, if
this is going to be
we can actually append some of that information, because there's definitely a mindset shift that's happening even as far as content creation is concerned. But we'll mix it up a little bit.
Oh no, for sure, definitely. So before we get into all that kind of conversation, what's up, man? How have you been?
I'm great, man. I definitely want to say thank you for inviting me on the show. I think that is the proper way to actually begin, especially when you're a guest on somebody else's platform. But I'm good, man. Just creating content, definitely jumping in video, and really spending a lot of time doing a lot of research for video and how it impacts certain platforms, specifically Facebook and Instagram, and just changing the whole photography perspective on Instagram, really going in on that. Especially on the watches. Yeah, especially on the watches and the lifestyle stuff. So changing it up a little bit, but still at the core, my first thing was podcasting that really got me to start to create the content. But I'm having a lot of fun just trying to mix it up. Not trying to, but I'm actually mixing it up right now, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to lie. Like, I follow you on all those platforms, and it's pretty dope. I remember, especially the video, man, and you're recording in what, like 1080 or 4K? Like, what are you recording in?
I think it's 720. It's like a standard HD cam for especially the Facebook stuff that I've been releasing for the last two videos I put out. The thing is, once the red light goes on, it's a whole different experience, and I'm trying to remember to have the same amount of the same mindset before I turn on the record button for the video, right? Because you feel different, anxiety starts kicking in, and different things like that. But I think just the fact that it's being out there, it's giving me the opportunity to practice to get better at doing it. So,
word, yeah, man, indeed. Now, I saw a couple things. I noticed a couple things, and we touched on this before in the first edition of the recording. And I want you to touch on this again because I think it's very important to talk about. And you were talking about, you're trying to do more lifestyle. I noticed that you sold your Samsung, but was it like the digital watch kind of thing?
Yeah, the watch is gone. The watch is actually gone. And the reason being is I'm trying to focus now on more simplicity. And I think one of the things that we touched on, and we can definitely go into it in terms of simplicity and minimalistic approach to 2017. Right. And I sold the watch, man. I let it go, and I feel great, man. I'm not really, the only tech I really want to have on me is a nice pair of headset, if that, maybe some earbuds, and then my phone, because I can do pretty much all those things in my phone in terms of correspondence and dealing with people. So I sold the actual watch, and I got like a standard self-winding timepiece, and I'm really enjoying that. And that's allowing me to really enjoy, how these watches work. Where the movements and different things like that, leather bands, straps, crowns, and all that conversation. So I'm learning that lingo. And even I'm noticing too, a lot of companies that are watch timepiece companies are starting following me and liking my content. And that gives me an opportunity to even, be an influencer, a marketer to them, if they decide to collaborate and stuff like that. So there's strategy, definitely involved there for me, because these are the things that I like right now, as far as my car and watches and lifestyle and, minimalism, if you will, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always been a dude that favored chronographs and timepieces more, like analog timepieces, and then
good.
like the first and I think the only like digital, quote unquote digital like timepieces really that I would get, and I got it for like nostalgia reasons, were like the old school Casio calculator watches, stuff like that, because I thought it was like cool, and it just took me back to a particular place in childhood. But definitely, timepieces and chronographs are definitely like right up my alley, and I think it's dope because I think you're blending a perfect like you're creating a perfect blend of like of like, manhood and like maturing, just because like,
Right.
we create a certain kind of content in terms of technology and gaming and so on and so forth. But then there's also, the understanding that you're a gentleman of a certain age. And it's just kind of like, these are the kind of things that I'm really into.
Exactly.
That kind of shows like, complexities of our character, which I really, really appreciate that, I mean, from the, what is it? The E46?
Yeah. E46, man. 330 XI, 4-wheel drive, stick shift, 6-speed in there. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. So, and it's really, really dope. So, I mean, springboarding directly off of that and like talking about like, maturing and trying to have a perfect blend of, the old school and new school kind of things. Last time we were here, you gave me a rundown of all the apps. You helped me out with Plex, which is like a big thing, and I talk about this all the time.
Plex is dope, man. And they just added Alexa capabilities to Plex. The news just came out.
I got like
this week.
2 emails. I got two emails today, like literally a couple hours ago.
Fresh out the box.
Yeah, like it's crazy, and I'm interested. I didn't really get to read it and like read through the the email to see exactly what it was about, but I'll definitely check it out later. And maybe I know that you're gonna. I'm sure so I'll ask you. I'll remember to ask you about that. But I did get your invitation. I was watching Grimm last night on Plex, and I saw it, and I forgot to send you a text. And like I don't know if I did something wrong, because like my Plex was acting kind of buggy for some strange reason. Like it wasn't connecting with my laptop.
Okay, well, definitely see if there's an update pending, because
I know
I know there was a server update that I had to do today. So definitely check that out and then try to reconnect and see if there's anything pending for you on your end.
You know what? If you updated, you said earlier today you updated?
Yeah.
It's probably an update, because I was trying to watch it, because I updated like maybe like last week or 2 weeks ago. Like it's probably like 2 weeks ago or more. I updated because I realized that every time and I was watching a show and it just like stopped in the middle of the show. And when it started acting like that, I was just like, okay, this probably needs to be updated. But it didn't even occur to me, because I felt like I updated so recently that I was just like, oh, I probably, it's probably just acting crazy for whatever reason. So
yeah, but the other thing too is if you're watching a show on somebody else's joint and then they cut off their server, you're going to get cut off. I mean, you know what I mean? But if their server is running properly.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So if you're watching something on my joint and you're like 35 minutes and 47 seconds in, and I decide to turn off my laptop and take my laptop with me, your joint is going to stop. See what I'm saying? Because the server runs on my laptop, and my laptop says, okay, this is the drive that you're looking into. Basically.
Right. Of course.
So if I unplug, then that's it. So that's why some people, family members, they'll be like, okay, so what you got going on in these particular nights? Are you shutting down? Are you gonna? I call it maintenance mode, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So they're like, are you gonna be up, or is it gonna be maintenance mode? I'm like, nah, it's good. So yeah,
yeah. So I mean. And I can't wait to dig into the library. Again, I've ordered my my cloud. Oh, you know what? I can't just say that, because then it doesn't make sense, and the people who are listening, it's not going to make any sense to them. So let me take a step back for a second. So we tackled the discussion of cloud-based hard drive, right? Like network hard drives.
Right.
And the last time we had a discussion, you basically told me that you had the one that I wanted to get, which was the MyCloud WD, like Western Digital.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yes. So I ordered it.
When does it get there?
It gets here in like about another 3 to 4 days.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna love it, man. Like once you set it up and you add either yourself and your wife, obviously, once you get it running, one of the things I really like about it has like the coffee maker type top.
Right.
Where you actually open it up right there, and then you see the two drives. But as I was explaining to you when we talked, the I'm not even using the drive right now. I actually have a drive plugged into it, and it's running through that drive instead. So I think it has two USB ports in the back of that particular unit. So I'm running a older Western Digital 2 terabyte drive. So that's extra storage for me if I need that in the future. So I'm not even running that right now. So as an option, go ahead.
No. What I was going to say, so see, that's really brilliant and that's a really good idea. So instead of spending all the extra money in buying like, what is it? The dual, what do you call it? The dual drive. You just bought the single drive and then just plugged up your USB.
Well, yeah, but I already had this drive here. This was my first big type of storage. That 2 terabyte, like the flat one that sits just flat.
Yeah.
Not vertical, but just laying down.
Oh, so you're just even using that?
I'm using that.
Dude.
Right. Attached to the cloud drive. So it's not even running anything on the cloud. So if I'm desperate for storage, then I'll go to the other one. I'll map to the other one and use it.
Does that affect your speed in any way? Like just in case, because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to.
No, because all the other content that I share runs through that drive, and I don't hear anybody complaining.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know, because it's funny because like I just literally had to buy like a 2 terabyte external, one of those like simple flat black hard drives,
right,
for all just the audio, because we're podcasters, so like back up all my audio, make sure I have everything and things like that. So I'm definitely gonna try that. Like that is a brilliant thing to do. Like, and folks, you guys got to go check it out. I didn't get paid by them, but Tiger Direct, that's where I got mine. I know Newegg has it as well too. Like I love those companies. Like I love ordering things from them. They make it really simple. Customer service is actually really great. So if you want to give them a buzz. So, and again, anybody who's listening from like Tiger Direct or Newegg can all tell you that I'm not getting
So question for you. I got a question for you right there.
Mm-hmm.
As you're mentioning Tiger Direct and all those different companies, do you have an Amazon affiliate account?
I do have an Amazon account.
Okay. All right. So the question is, why are you saying Tiger Direct and not your Amazon affiliate account? Do you feel like it's slimy?
Yeah, a little bit I do, because like, I don't know, like I feel like every time I look to order something from Amazon, okay, perfect example is I ordered some headsets, right? And I ordered a new cable for my car for like my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And they came separately, even though I placed the orders at the same time. Not only did they come separately, which is, I guess, is fine because there's like, independent salespeople on Amazon. At times, like I just felt like the packaging was like super sketch. Like if there was like somebody just like in their house, who was just like, oh, I'm just gonna wrap this up in some like bubble wrap and throw it in an old used, like manila envelope that I had and throw it in the mail. And I don't know. I just like felt like really, I just didn't like the presentation of it. Everything worked just fine. I'm not gonna lie, the goods worked, but it was, to me, when I got it delivered, it was the presentation, and that just kind of like turned me off a little bit. So,
all right. So question for you. Okay. So what is Slovenly Gamer?
Oh man, you're turning the tables. You're interviewing me now.
A little bit. I'll stop after a while.
No. This is good.
Yeah. Go ahead. So what is Slovenly Gamer?
So it's funny because the context of my Amazon account is not connected to the podcast, actually.
Okay.
This was like pre-podcast, and I never ended up creating one because I was always like, I really don't know. But Slovenly, to answer the question directly, what Slovenly Gamer is a hub for nerd talk. And what I mean by nerd talk is just general nerd culture. So we talk about horror movies, we talk about video games, we talk about politics, in between times, like everything that affects us, like me being a man of color, me being a nerd, those are all the things that I discuss. So it's basically a hub for conversation. That's really what Slovenly Gamer is.
Okay, so what if you added more video to that though? What would that look like?
You know what? It'll be very much the same thing, but just it'll be like that, but like very FGC.
Okay, now I'll tell you why it's not. I'll tell you why it's not the same thing. Okay, because if you think about and I guess I'm building a case here, and as we're talking about it, is if you think about ESPN radio, right, versus ESPN, let's say First Take, when you're actually seeing the people do what they do, even though you can listen to the audio 24 hours later, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing because the mannerisms, the facial expressions, the anxiety, the stress, the heated discussions on video, even though you're going to hear the audio of that 24 hours to 48 hours later, because they post their stuff pretty fast, it's a totally different experience.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like even though it's not physical,
it's
in
the same
flesh,
thing.
human
but
reaction.
It's not the same thing, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like there's still a level of human interaction. Like, you can see me laugh, you can see me, like, throw up my eyebrow or arch my eyebrow.
Right, exactly. And I can see what you wear that day, what jeans, what kind of hoodie you put on, or see what Stephen A wears that day, or maybe Molly. Lord have mercy. Yeah. But that's a whole different situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different experience. So, and the reason I bring that up, my whole point behind that is you're a media company.
See, this is why I love this guy, folks. Hear this?
That's what you are. Now the reason that I bring that whole thing, just to bring it around full circle, is video on Facebook. Even they just had their earnings call on the 1st of February, right? And they announced that there's 1.86 billion individuals on Facebook right now.
Wow.
Okay. And this is real stats that people can go look up. They also announced that they tweaked their algorithm last week for videos that are 90 seconds or more. Okay. In addition to that, they're doing video ad testing for in-video, obviously, right? Video ads. You know what that is. Your people know what that is. And in addition to that, they're going towards TV. For the TV ad dollars to bring all that, to bring Facebook, a video-centric app to set-top boxes. So what does that mean for individuals who are not creating video right now on Facebook?
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Missing out, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So now you can be uncomfortable and not do anything on Facebook and just let this wave pass, or you can start getting out of your comfort zone and then putting up 5-minute videos, 3-4-minute videos just to start feeling it out. Right. So at least your content starts indexing into that, marketplace, that platform.
You know what? I think I definitely got to try that because recently, for one of my episodes, and it was called the Legend of John Henry, which a buddy of mine wrote a book about John Henry, and we actually recorded a video. And I'm going to try to see if I can chop that up because it was like one big long video and I've been super busy, but I definitely wanted to chop certain aspects of that up and put it out. And I'll definitely do that. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Like,
right. You're a media company. You're a media company. And I'm making a case for that. And I that's my song right now, if you will. I'm making a case for that because we have so many different things that we think about throughout the day. And if you have like a paper and a pen to just write down those 3 or 4 bullet points, that's 5-6 minutes video right there.
True.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because like sometimes I feel like what I want to do is just because I realized like even I put one time I just record like a quick little Instagram video of me at Wednesday Night Fights, just talking about, hey, what was it like gaming and eating cookies. My homie Outlaw Sean baked some cookies and brought it to the, you know what I'm saying, like, to the tournament, and like a lot of people like reacted positively to just being able to see me in that environment. You know what I'm saying? Like see me like, hey, eating cookies and gaming, that's what it's all about. And it was like literally like a 1-minute video.
Right.
So I definitely see your point of that interaction.
Before I forget, I just definitely want to give you this website called kit.com, KIT.com. You can put all your gear that you use in there, and then you can tie in your Amazon affiliate account to that, so it doesn't feel as slimy anymore.
I like that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you give them your website, kit.com / let's say, Slovenly Gamer, and then all your kit for, let's say, your podcasting will be on there, your kit for your lifestyle will be on there, et cetera, et cetera. You just have these different kits, and then everybody knows what you use, and they can just buy through there. One-stop
Dude,
shop.
Thank you for that, man. See,
Yeah, man. Yeah, because
ladies and gentlemen,
the whole thing.
This is why the name of your show is perfect. This is why the name of your podcast is absolutely perfect. TheShowRadio.info, because there's so much information, man. You're like an encyclopedia. You're like a Britannica, because you know the Britannicas was much bigger back in the day, so that's what I
I remember.
you. Yeah.
I had to say, bro.
Of course you had to say. You know what I'm saying? Like we got Caribbean parents, man. Of course you had the encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Britannica
it was dope,
set.
man. It was dope. Now, because the whole thing with that is because you mentioned we're gonna talk about apps and stuff like that, and I'm always looking forward to discussing the apps that I use or as I don't use as much as I used to, but the killer app now is the person creating content.
True.
And that's where the direction should go in terms of the mindset that we should have now. There should be no reason if you have a phone or any kind of video camera in your house and it's collecting dust. Your phone is definitely not collecting dust, because what's going to happen is Super Bowl 51 is right around the corner, right?
Right.
Every single commercial break, we look down because we can care less about those commercials until they post them Monday, Tuesday on YouTube or Facebook, so we can
True.
look at,
and then they get like 10 million views or
our
stuff like
leisure.
that.
So why aren't you creating a video giving your predictions for Super Bowl 51 Friday night, Saturday night? Let that run its course through the weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, you create a video for maybe your impressions were wrong. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly, on Facebook, because we're looking down. Even the people driving looking down, bro.
See, I definitely got to do that, but I got to do it for FIFA. And I know a lot of people out there are probably going to enjoy that, because you guys know, and I'm sorry, some of you guys who are listening, you guys know I don't deal with Yankee sports. You guys know this. I say this all the time. So please don't kill me. Like, it won't be American football, but I'll definitely do some football. I can definitely do some conversations about my team, Manchester United, don't hate, because I can see a lot of you making up your faces right now. So yeah, for sure. So now let's get into the conversation, because it's like right on my head, because I was just dealing with apps today at work. So this is like right on my head. So we're only about a month now fully, right?
Yeah, a month
and a couple hours into 2017, but you're always ahead of the curve. You're always looking towards the future. You're always looking down the line. And that's one of the things that I love about you. It's never just like short-sighted, like 2-3 months from now. You're looking at like 2-3 years. You can kind of see what's coming down the pike. So tell us, so far for 2017, what are some of your favorite apps? Like, what are you looking at right now? And then what are you looking at down the line?
Okay,
two-part question, I guess.
Two-part question. So Google, everything Google. That seems unfair. That's Facebook, Instagram. So pretty much the big three right now, because they're still buying new companies and adding new services within the companies to make their services even more applicable to the shift and the trends, right? So that's one thing. So do not neglect. Okay, so I'll repeat it again. Do not neglect what Facebook is doing right now. That's very important. That's critical, because the way they're shifting those things, as far as pushing us to the point where video is a thing that we should apply. The marketplace that they have, we should consider we start using. They have their own video tab on the U.S. Platform for Facebook. It's not everywhere yet, but it's definitely on the U.S. platform. Some individuals are getting the desktop version for Facebook Live. Okay, not too far down the road, they're gonna get that. There's a company called Be Live TV that allows you to do Q&A through Facebook Live. So stuff like that. It's really speaking to, do not minimize video because you're comfortable doing podcasts. Now, I'm not you in general. Right. I'm just speaking for the individuals who just comfortable.
Definitely.
Just doing podcasts. I'm uncomfortable doing video. But the thing is, once it's on and I know what points I'm going to talk about, I'm going to let it flow, and you either like it or you don't. But another thing that video does too, specifically for the individuals who are not doing video, when they see your video, it shows them what they should be doing and they're not doing. right?
Okay, good point. Yeah.
You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
So the video does that. Podcast doesn't do it as much because it's not necessarily an underground thing, but it has to be in your face to be like, oh man, they just released a new episode. I know I need to get on that, right? But
Right.
if you come across their Facebook profile or they drop a YouTube link on Twitter, be like, oh man, they just dropped another video. I know I'm trying to do that, right? So it's a reminder of what you should be doing because you know it's the right thing to do. You just need to go do.
You know, it's very interesting. I find it like there's an idea of what you're talking about, and it's like I think it's like somewhat like passive technology. So like we're getting so accustomed to the technology around us that we are passing up like all its usefulness. You know,
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? It's
Of
just kind of
course.
like, you know, there's all these videos, there's all this stuff, but we're so accustomed to just being able to pick up our phones and record video, and whether it was like Instagram, RIP Vine, and all these different things,
Right.
that we're forgetting that there's all these other useful, it's just like there's all these different things that we can use it for, and we're not necessarily kind of tapping into those markets yet. So
Right.
you're absolutely right, man. Like it's definitely something that I've always had on my mind. I know, like right when you started yours, like I was kind of like talking about the same thing as well, and it had a bunch of. But I'm in a weird way, I'm a perfectionist because the idea was like so grandiose of what I had for my video, and I kept trying to tell myself, and I kept remembering that. You got to make it simple. And what always reminds me of that is whenever I do like a quick little Instagram, like 1 minute video, is that people respond so positively to it. Just seeing my face
Right.
and hearing me talking just for a quick second, like people respond relatively well to it. So you're absolutely right. I think it's a fear that I personally have to get over, and not being comfortable in front of the camera. Dude, like I can't tell you how many FGC homies, like shout out, Super Turbo Squad, Eugene, Miller, and Sharon, because a couple times they're like, hey, maybe you should get on the mic and kind of commentate and stuff like that. I'm always like, hey, I don't want to do it. The homies that
Do it,
that Wednesday
'cause
night
it's
fights.
social proof. It's social proof. If they're going to record that and your face
Nick
is on
Tanella.
there, yeah, it's definitely social proof, and we should take advantage of those opportunities because it's gonna have us out there. You think about all the individuals who are famous or they became famous, whether they had in the arts of some sort, whether it was audio
Right.
first with their music, but a lot of what you saw to get to know who they were is all the videos and the photographs that was being taken of these people.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot of the individuals
Absolutely.
who are not like, musicians and those individuals, and they have a large following now, it's either a lot of video or they're models, right? Whether it's a cosplay model or something like that.
True.
It's
Mhm.
a lot of pictures and they're selling those pictures, they're marketing and they're branding their own stuff. They look great, so they take advantage of that as well. But you think about some of the individuals that we know in the circles of the social media stuff that have large following, it's because they're on video, bro.
True. Absolutely.
A lot of
Yeah,
them.
people can see you smile. People can see you laugh. People can see
Right.
you grimace. Like, it's true. Definitely. That's definitely it. And it's funny because like literally as soon as I get off this with you, I'm just going to go hit up my homie Outlaw Sean who edits videos, and I'm going to send him over some videos so he can chop them up for me, and I can start posting some clips, man. Cause I really, really like that idea. And I have the content. Like I have a 2-hour interview that I did with my buddy, and I can definitely test it out with that content because it's actually really, really good content as well too.
Right. And the thing is also we have websites and blogs and stuff like that. Another thing too, I'm realizing from, the marketing, gurus, if you will, let's just call them that for now, is they're saying that don't just focus on trying to redirect everybody to your home website. That
Right.
sounds cool,
Mm-hmm.
but you have YouTube to take advantage of, you have Facebook to take advantage of. Just make sure you're taking advantage of those platforms natively, right?
Right.
Don't copy and paste a video that's not going to fit somewhere else and think it's going to be cool. If it's not a native upload to that particular platform or whatever, you're just wasting your time. But your home base, your blog is not the only place that individuals are going to land on, right? So
Absolutely. Especially in today's market.
Exactly. So if they do a search on Google and then a whole bunch of stuff comes up, sometimes they do the first thing that comes up, and it may not be your website. It could be YouTube.
True.
If you're there,
True.
right? If you're there. So that's the mindset that we have to take. Just and you're noticing too, a lot of companies who are media companies, they're buying magazine companies, right? because they want
Yes, digital magazines.
Exactly, because they
Yes.
know print is still important. Print in the sense of the kind of Instagram print, if you will, because as we mentioned, the other time it's coming back to me. Your billboard today is Instagram. If you're gonna let that pass, that's on you.
Dude, there's actually, I don't know if I'm sure you see it, but there's like sometimes like when you're scrolling through Instagram, there'll be videos or like there'll be posts of like from like magazines like GQ magazine, and then they have like it's like I guess like for businesses pay for it, which is like their posts become like interactive, and it's like 3 or 4 pictures in one post. So it's definitely that. I definitely see that connection, and I see that like that's where everything is kind of heading. It's like literal multimedia, not just.
But you have that though. But you have that,
right?
Because you have an account. You see what I'm saying? So if you're just watching jokes and 15-second videos on Instagram and then just laughing the rest of the day and not taking advantage that is your personal billboard, because I follow BMW on Instagram, they're just billboard of their stuff. I could just take that Instagram picture that they just posted, let's say the last one they posted, whatever it is, and then magnify it on a billboard, and that's what you have. You know, this is, they'll have, relentlessly excellent, the new BMW X5, or whatever they say on their stuff. And you're like, that's the billboard.
Word. Yeah, man. No, you're absolutely right. It's just like, and it's weird because I feel like everything that we do in today's media is a billboard.
Yeah.
And, the only difference between, I guess like, the platforms is it's the interaction, because obviously some people are more in tune with Instagram than they are with Facebook, some people more in tune with Twitter than they are either of those, and then there's some people who just get all their social content, like their fun content or their somewhat informative content, from YouTube.
Right.
So I definitely see like you gotta create that mixed bag. So now we're talking about, you said we gotta make sure that we're doing real multimedia. We got to use all the tools disposable to us. Facebook,
you have to.
Instagram,
Etsy,
Twitter,
Etsy also. Etsy, yeah, the marketplace, Facebook
Pinterest,
marketplace,
like
Pinterest
is
right?
like,
because Pinterest is big, for billboards and pictures and all that stuff. Of course, man.
So these are things that are current, that you're telling everybody to use at their disposal. You're telling them that these are brilliant ideas to like get themselves out there. But let's talk about, what are you seeing down the line? Like what apps, what innovations are you seeing down the line that you're like, this is going to be the next big thing? Because I know
Yeah, so VR is still cool. I'm still on the fence with it, but I still think it has a wonderful place if it's being done right. And I think that looking ahead, because the thing is, if you look at history, it repeats itself to a certain degree, as you always hear that particular saying. The reason I'm focusing so much on the human element right now is because that's the focus that we're ignoring.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the apps are great. So the apps are going to allow us to, the apps are only great if they're being used to the extent that they were meant to be used, right? Mm-hmm. So Facebook is not being maximized, which is why I keep going back to that. Instagram is definitely not maximized, especially if you're just scrolling through pictures. Dude, this guy asked me the other day, and we're back on Instagram real quick. This guy asked me the other day if my car was mine. Right?
What?
Yeah, he asked me if it was mine. There was so many different ways I could answer that question. But my thing is, there's so many individuals on Instagram that is posting other people's stuff, claiming that it's theirs. Some people don't even believe that the stuff I post is mine.
Oh, crap.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely right. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Because they can rent the car. They could rent the car and post it and be like, yo, they're leaning on the car like it's their car, but it may not be their car. They go to somebody else's, mansion, party or whatever, and they post like it's theirs, and it's not there. The stuff that I post is mine. I mean, if there's a car that I really see that's dope, I'll post that, but I'm not going to post it and make it sound like it's mine, but my car is my car. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know what? I find that very interesting and weird at the same time, because I feel like I would totally give credit. Like if I took, like I love BMWs and I'm very partial to the M3. I think it's like the E46 M3 from like the 90s, like the same year as like
car,
your...
Man.
Huh?
Yeah, the E46 M3 is a beautiful car, bro.
I love that car, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? I think I want to buy one of those. It's like my fun little weekend driver. I've always been partial to it. I just always loved the car.
Yeah, it's a really nice car. It's a really nice car, man.
You know, so, and I was just like, I think that's something that I want to do, but I can't ever imagine myself like taking a picture of it or posting a picture of it and posting and using any kind of verbiage that will lead people to think that this is my car. But I do understand that, and I do see that, and I feel like, I don't know, it throws me in today's market because I feel like we lose a certain level of just being genuine.
Right.
And I don't know why. Let's get psychological for a second. Like, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think when it comes to social media, people are so in a rush to be non-genuine? Like, people, instead of just being who they are and having people love them for them, they just kind of always want to just be like, oh no, like, you know, I guess like what it's the baller thing. So it's like,
it could be the baller thing. They may not know who they are. They may lack self-confidence. You know, they may not necessarily appreciate who they are. And we even talked about, you know, self-awareness. They may not be there, right? True. They may not be there. And it's easier for them to mask with other people's stuff than to actually, you know, be who they are. I've mentioned to you in the past, and I'm sure I mentioned it in other places where, yo, my laptop is an i3 laptop, bro. Yes. That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. Right. And, you know, I don't have any monthly payments on it or anything like that. And it cooks out what it needs to cook out. And I'm still producing what I need to produce, and I edit what I need to edit. It works for me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, there's no reason for me to put something else on there. Now, granted, we go to events and all those things, and we get to see those things, take pictures of those products while we're at the event. They send us review products of stuff. We take pictures of those. Most of them we get to keep. Some of them we don't get to keep. That's a whole different thing. But, bro, my man asked me if my joint was my whip, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because not a lot of people post their personal items that they actually own, because they may not necessarily own certain things that they're proud of, you know? So that's a whole other thing.
You see, and I always feel like I'm not opposed to giving props where props is due. So if you like a particular product, I don't see anything wrong with saying, hey, you know, shout out to this product, like, you know, awesome. You know, hopefully I can get, you know, like I'm working on hopefully, you know, getting one of these days and things like that.
Right.
So
exactly.
it's a weird thing that people do. And I feel like that's why, you know, with my podcast, I try to remain as genuine as possible. And I feel like a lot of my listeners, like, I feel comfortable and I get that push, especially from my listeners. So I always got to give a shout out to my listeners and say thank you. And I love you guys so much for all the support, because that's one thing that they do. They're like, dude, I love the fact that you're straight up. You're just kind of like, I'm just like, hey man, it is what it is. Like, you know, if I don't know about something, I'm just going to say that I don't know.
Right, I don't know.
Or yeah, like I was like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if someone asks you a question and you don't know, you're just like, nah, I actually don't know. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't want to say anything and like sound stupid or sound ignorant. So I just don't have an opinion on that particular thing because I don't know.
Right.
So
but you're seconds away from knowing though, because you have Google.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And that's what I always say too. Like I say that to people. Sometimes I'll say certain things and they'll be like, and I always say, you don't have to believe me. Google it.
Right. Exactly.
Don't believe a word I say. Google it. If you think that I'm lying, if you think that I'm BSing you on something, just go ahead and Google it. You know, and while you're Googling that, actually take time to read the content. You know, don't just Google whether you're right or wrong.
We have so much information, you know, in our time. There's no reason for you to be ignorant. Like even today, I put out this video called 3 Lessons You Can Learn from John Wick, the movie, right? I just watched it this week. The movie came out, I think, in 2014 or whatever, and it's a great movie, and I don't want to say too many things that would be considered spoilers, so I kind of, you know, tied in those 3 lessons that you probably didn't know, right?
Right.
And posted on Facebook, YouTube, and all the usual places and stuff like that, and I got that off of me now, you know what I'm saying? Because I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what, there's so many lessons that people can learn from this movie. This movie is the dopest, right?
Right.
You know, so I kind of wrapped up a theme with the movie because obviously it's SEO heavy right now because the new one comes out, the 9th or whatever, February 9th.
Oh, wow, it is. I
right
thought it was March,
corner.
But yeah.
No, it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. So then there's definitely going to be some SEO juice for that, just for the simple fact that I'm talking about John Wick. You don't know what I talked about. You know, I posed it as 3 lessons that you may have missed while you watched the movie. You may have watched it maybe two years ago. right?
I
So
did,
now
yeah.
it gives you the thing like, man, you know what? What did I miss as far as lessons are concerned? So now you're going to hit the video and see what this guy's talking about, because obviously I know everything about the movie. He can't tell me anything new about the movie. So now it forces you to, I should say force, but it lures you to check out, that video content that I just put out versus exactly what I'm talking about, with the movie and kind of doing that thing. So stuff like that, take advantage of, the things that, and your perspective. You can do the same video and your perspective is going to be totally different. You could say the exact same thing I said on the video,
Right.
but because your personality is different, people will vibe to you different than they vibe with me.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So all
definitely.
those different things, man, we have to be mindful to take advantage of them because we've had them for a while. We've had YouTube since what, 07, 08?
Oh man.
Right?
Is it
I don't know. I'm just throwing those 2 years out there because I think it's around that. Maybe it's earlier.
I thought,
But
yeah,
I'm
because I
thinking-
was about to say I thought it was a little bit earlier.
It could be earlier, but once we Google it, we'll know exactly what year it is. But bro, since the early 2000s,
Wow. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Hold on,
You know?
let me wow.
What have we
When-
done with that? So stuff like that. Facebook's been around for a while. It was the high school medium first, right? Then it started including everybody else.
2005.
2005. Okay, so I was off by a couple of years, but dude,
Yeah.
that's what we're
That's-
talking about right now.
That's pretty awesome. And you know what? Again, perfect segues, perfect springboard, talking about, things, things that you can learn from certain things just all around you and in life in general. I think last week you tweeted out a list of life hacks. And before we kind of discuss certain aspects of that, tell me, how did you come up with this? Like, the idea of just saying like, you know what, I'm just going to do a life hack short list.
So a lot of things, I'm a brooder, right? So I think about a lot of things, and sometimes I'm trying to figure out if I should just do an audio version of it or should I just do video and then break it down to audio or whatever, or just write it down. But these things were overwhelmingly on my mind for whatever reason, and I just started making a Keep. I opened up Google Keep and I just wrote the entire list of those things that I was thinking about for life hacks, just like that. Like, okay, why is this coming to me? So I started writing it down, right, on Keep. Now, the links that came with that document turned out to be, that blog post really came off to be 1,300 words. Okay. And the links that supported the case I was making for these life hacks came after. So it wasn't a pre-prepped kind of thing. It wasn't a thing like, okay, I need supporting links for these before I wrote it. I wrote it first, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should see if there's supporting links to the things I'm mentioning right now. And then most of them had a supporting link. It was crazy. And that's how it came about.
Wow. Just like that. You know what? And while I have you here, there's a couple things that I want to discuss with you. And I want you to unpack these a little bit while we're talking right now, while we're on the show. Of course, folks, as you know, the link for Andrew's life hack blog is going to be in the show notes, and I definitely want you guys to check it out. But I'm only going to go over probably 2 or 3 of them. And one of the ones I want to start with, since we both love cars and we both love BMWs, so this must be kind of a hard thing, I don't know, is limit your driving.
Yes. Limit your driving. One of the things I was talking about in that particular bullet point is the safest driver, right, drives with 2 hands. I'm just now I'm mixing it up. I'm freestyling it because I'm thinking about different things with it. And also the safest driver picks exactly when they drive, male or female. It makes no sense for you to go out in high traffic times the same time, especially if you don't have to be in that. Right. You just decide that you want to drive in that traffic time. You can pick, certain back roads if you have it, listen to some classical music as you're doing that particular drive, and especially for me, not saying that I can't drive stick in traffic, but it's more enjoyable when you have the room. Okay.
Right. So you're just not constantly just adding every second. Right.
It's definitely more comfortable when you have the room. So if you can actually pick, if you have a restaurant nearby that can deliver to you, that for whatever, have them deliver. If you have a family that can come to you, let them come over. There's different, and you can save a lot of gas when you really decide if what you're driving for is really necessary.
Right. It's funny, man, because living in a SoCal driving culture, I definitely find that, but I do it in my own way because I'm very much like, I don't want to go out. Like, I'd rather just be in the house, like doing some work, doing a little bit of research, reading, watching a movie or something like that. Just because every time, for me, I'm 15, 20 minutes away from work, going to work in the morning, getting home, 45 minutes.
That's a whole nother thing.
Before you, dude, like seriously. And that's actually an improved time, because before it used to be like a half an hour to get to work and like an hour and a half to get back home.
That's crazy. So let me tell you, tomorrow I have to go to Brooklyn, right? So I'm on Long Island. I have to go to Brooklyn, and I'll probably travel during travel times that are high. But I got HOV lane for most of it, so I can kind of offset, that, which is great. But at the same time, it's an hour and 25 minutes from where I am to where I'm going. But once I get there, my goal is to park and then just enjoy walking around, home, because that's hometown. Brooklyn is home for me. So I definitely want to go back to Bulletproof and where the McDonald's is. I'm going back home.
Oh, so you're going to Flatbush.
I'm going back home. I'm going back in the area tomorrow. So that's, I need to walk those streets once in a while. It brings me some kind of peace. Man.
Yeah, right by Brooklyn College. Yeah.
It brings me some kind of peace. So I'm definitely doing that tomorrow. But that's because I have to. Right? Because I have a trip to, I have to bring my daughter to my wife, and then they're going to do the church music ministry stuff tomorrow night. That's the plan. But I need to bring her there. So since I'm going there anyway, I'll drop her off, and then it gives me time to just kind of chill.
Yeah, right? And just kind of like, thaw out a little bit.
Right. That was purpose, and that was planned. Now, the crazy side of me is I'll drive in the middle of Christmas shopping time, the 24th and then the 25th, because I think it's fun.
Ooh.
So that's just the other side of me. A little insane sometimes, borderline, but if I don't have to be out there, I don't have to be out there. That was the point of that.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I get that. And I feel like, especially in driving cultures like Southern California in general, people will have to think like that, because that's me. And I think that, like, the only caveat that I would add to that is, if you have to drive, do things that decreases your stress.
Right. Exactly.
Like for me, I find like a lot of people that like, oh my God, they're always getting angry. And I'm like, dude, honestly, I put on some jazz, some music. It just depends on what I'm listening to and the mood that I'm in. But whatever kind of music that I feel is going to like soothe me and kind of like just keep my spirits up and keep me positive, that's what I listen to as I'm traveling through traffic. And I feel like that's a very important thing for all of us to do. You got to think about things that,
that's right,
life hacks that make your life easier. And it could be something so simplistic. If you know that you're going to be stuck in 2 hours in traffic, don't be upset. It's pointless, because you're literally making yourself upset.
Exactly. For no reason. Because this happens no reason. At the same time every day. You should know every that day. There's no reason for you to be mad.
Exactly. So you have to discover, you have to, organize ways to kind of release and relieve some of that stress that that you're going to go into, because you have no choice, because you got to work, because you got a family, and you got things that hobbies that you enjoy, and you just know, what, going to and fro is a part of the deal.
Right. And
this is just an accepted part of the deal. Second thing you put, like another thing that you put that's very important, and I don't think people realize how important it is, specifically for gamers. And I feel like gamers need to really, really adhere to this a lot, because the things that we drink and the way that a lot of us take care of ourselves, we have horrible, horrible diets, and that's hydrate.
You have to hydrate, bro, because a good portion of the population right now is walking around dehydrated, because the amount of water that you're supposed to take daily, at least the minimum, is 16 to 48 ounces a day.
Right.
So before your morning routine, the first thing you should do after, you urinate or whatever, you let it out, because most of us get up and then we do that in the morning, because our body's flushing out all the stuff it needs to flush out. But you're not adding more water, because you're probably drinking soda and juice. Soda and juice is not really water based. It's water based, but not the water you think you're supposed to be getting.
Exactly. No, right. You're absolutely right, because like I feel like I go to a lot of gaming events, and I just see people pounding like all these kind of
Monster, right? All of them, bro. Not water.
Right. And I'm just kind of like, listen, that's okay too. And I know we got to keep our energy up, and I know we got to keep things going, but you also have to drink water, and you also have to hydrate, because that keeps your brain functioning properly.
Right. And even in that particular bullet point, the article that I linked was a Harvard Health article. So definitely consider reading that. It's good stuff. 16 to 48 ounces a day is the minimum. At least if you do 2 bottles of, 2 16-ounce bottles, you're okay. But, if you could stretch to 48 on a regular basis without even thinking about it, like you're damaging your body, you're actually helping it with the water.
Yeah, you know what? I actually try to drink at least, I have a big 40 ounce tin water carrier. I try to drink at least 2 of that a day.
That's a lot. That's good. That's really good.
At least 2 of it a day, just because it's like, sometimes they're very busy at work and meetings and things like that. So it's like, I realize that the more water I drink, and there's certain times that I know I dehydrate myself and I can feel the difference in my body. And it makes all the difference to hydrate. And now, talking about staying on the same subject of
real quick.
Of course.
The first thing they give you in the hospital is IV. There's a reason for that.
True. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And it's funny because I work, in a form of the medical industry. It's like, the medical tech industry. And that's definitely something, that I've heard doctors, pound into patients time and time again. Like, you got to hydrate, you got to drink water. You're not drinking enough water, especially like when we run labs and things like that. So that's very true. The second thing is sleep. Like, we live in such a TV culture and such a high social media consumption culture.
Yep.
People usually don't even put their phones down while they're in bed. They have their phones and fall asleep with their phones in their hand. So talk about the importance of sleep.
Okay, sleep is 6 to 8 hours if you can get that, right? And if you're trying to go to sleep, if you like using your devices before you go to sleep, what you want to do is cut. Let's say you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, you want to cut your use of that particular device maybe at 8:45, because what happens is the brightness of the device, especially if you don't have any filters on the actual device, is preventing you from sleeping properly. Also, if you can make the room black, like completely, right? For the windows are properly covered. There's no additional light coming in, or even put tape over the red lights or blue lights that are emanating from certain devices in your room, or make sure device is flipped upside down, so that light, your eyes see that when you're rolling around and you're trying to shift positions while you're sleeping.
No, it's true. And you know what? The interesting thing is, that's why I don't have a TV in my room. And I haven't had a TV in my room for years. And I remember the first time I made that decision, and it was like the best sleep that I've ever had.
Right.
Like,
all those lights, man, they get to you.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid, I used to fall asleep with the TV on all the time. And I got to tell you, you're tossing and turning, and your brain is actually taking in everything that's going on. Like, you may not realize it, but it's definitely taking all that stuff in. So we dealt with hydrate, we dealt with sleep. And the third one, because I want to talk about some games with you for sure before we get out of here, is no is an answer.
No is an answer, because, all right, so I had to really change the way I do social media in 2017. And I think it's benefiting me so much more now because of the amount of individuals I had to unfollow, to get, and saying no to all the stuff that was coming into my space that I really didn't care about.
Right.
So I'm actually bridging two as we're talking right now. So a lot of us say yes to a lot of different events that we're just going to please the individuals that are there, thinking that we're doing ourselves a favor, but we're not really taking care of ourselves, right?
Right.
A lot of family events that you're presented, you feel like you have to go because you want to feel validated, or there's some validation, there's some psychological validation that's happening in that space. Because if I go, then I'm going to feel better about myself because I didn't have the courage to say no. It's okay to say no if you don't want to go.
Right.
It's okay to say no. I don't say yes to everything. And the interesting part about that, when you start exercising that ability, or that, if you want to call it power in context, right? People will respect you for that.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes that saying yes to everything devalues you a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
People feel like, oh, you know what? That person's going to say yes. They're going to go. They're going to be down. And, I know a lot of people are listening are like, oh, I wouldn't do that. But you got to think about, there's there's over 1 billion people on this planet. And there's a lot of other people who would actually take advantage. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously, it happens.
Right. And think how much time you're getting back when you do that. If you actually put the stuff on, I don't know if, everybody uses calendars, but, I try to use calendars, the Google Calendar or whatever. If you put all the stuff that you really want to do on a calendar, and then somebody comes up and they say, hey, are you doing something, Thursday at 7? And you're already doing something Thursday at 7, why are you going to try to please that when you already got plans?
True.
It should be an automatic no. Like, no, I already got plans. You don't need to tell them what your plans are. If you already made plans, it's already on your calendar. Maybe it was already on your calendar 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. Why you feel like you have to, conform or just, do what everybody else is doing? Sometimes doing what everybody else is doing is not necessarily a good thing.
Exactly. I mean, it's like that whole, if everybody else jump off the bridge kind of thing, right?
I would. I just need a parachute or something. Or give me one of those link gliders like he has in the new Nintendo Switch, but that was a segue.
Uh-oh. You know what? So let's do it. Let's just do it. Because, the final topic of the discussion is going to be games anyway. So let's just do it. I did an episode. You guys know a lot of people reach out to me. A lot of people agree with me. The one person that I was just like, hey man, this guy knows a lot about Nintendo, and I know he loves Nintendo. He's a Nintendo head. He's actually going to be on the show really soon. We set up a date for it and everything. That's the homie Sharif Jackson. He was just like, thanks for the shout out. I disagree with everything you said. I love Nintendo. Now, mine was from a place of, generally I don't, do that kind of thing. It was just like a simple hot take. People reached out to me, hey man, what is your opinion on this? People were interested in hearing my thoughts on it. So I was just like, I'm going to give you guys like a 40. I thought it was going to be like a 35 minute hot take. And me, I ended up doing 45 minutes, an hour, just like ranting about Nintendo.
Right.
But you actually got hands on.
I did. And it was dope.
What were your, okay, there you go.
I liked it. And one of the things that I listened to your episode, and I agree with everything you said. I really did. It's kind of weird. How can I agree with everything you said, but yet I still appreciate what Nintendo does? Because it's Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you expect? And that's not, an answer really, but it's when I got the hands on with the actual Zelda and the Street Fighter, because I know that's your thing for FGC. I had a lot of fun, bro. Their vision, and as I mentioned to you in the past, like when I was talking to one of the Corp guys or whatever, their mission is just to make you smile. And I think Nintendo does that with every product that they have. Now, I personally do not have the Wii U, or the Switch. Obviously, the Switch is not out yet because it comes out in March. But aside from that, when I see their stuff, I get happy, bro. Like,
you know what?
How could you not?
You're right. And that's the thing, too. Watching it, I wasn't really, like, ecstatic about anything. But once I saw Zelda, of course, and I saw, Mario, and I was just like, I smiled, but it wasn't anything that made me like, oh, man, like, I got to get this system.
Yeah, but you appreciated what you saw. Like, okay, so let's talk about Zelda real quick. So I played the 20-minute demo that they had for Zelda, and that 20 minutes felt like 5, bro. I was immersed into the world. I started having fun, with Zelda and trying to figure out what weapons I needed and how they upgraded and stuff like that. Started learning the system. Now, you don't need the Switch to play Zelda because I believe it's going to come on the Wii U anyway. And most individuals that I talk to and our circle, those cats, they're just waiting for a good reason to buy the console, and it's really the Odyssey, as Mario Odyssey, some of them are waiting for.
Right. See, right. No. See, right? and that's the thing with me, like,
and that's okay.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. And my thing is just like, I look at Nintendo. I love Nintendo. Just to reiterate some points, just like I love Nintendo. Nintendo was like my first gaming love. That's how I fell in love with this. This is how I fell in love with what we do. So I have no hate for Nintendo.
Right. So I want to be clear. Okay. They're not sending me a Nintendo Switch. That's not why I'm saying what I'm saying. Let's be clear.
Right.
Okay. For your listeners, I have no review unit coming in. Yes, they did invite me to an event. Yes, I have, correspondence with Nintendo, but they're not sending me anything for free, and I'm not trying to protect, my ability to have conversations with them in the near future. That's how I feel about Nintendo.
Right. No,
So
no,
I
and
just had
that's
to
the
throw
thing
that in
too.
there.
No, definitely, because like, and that's why, you know what, I don't have any connection with Nintendo at all. And even I said that, you can go back to my podcast and listen to it, and you hear me actually say that. I'm like, I love Nintendo. Like, I have no hate towards Nintendo. The reason why I'm so hard on them is because I know that they can do so much better. But, the last time we had a conversation in the recordings that fail, you actually said something very, very important and something that was key that I would like to reiterate here. And you said, the first thing you said to me when we broached that conversation, you were like, Nintendo knows their lane.
Of course.
And that's one thing I could not disagree on. I was just like, you're absolutely right. Like,
They
I think that they can do a little bit more with their lane.
Right.
But
and
they definitely know
and
their
they
lane.
are doing more with their lane. Okay, and just real quick before I do the lane thing. Now, if Nintendo decides they want to send me a Nintendo Switch, I do want it. Please, Nintendo. I'll definitely take it.
Same here. I'll take one.
So as far as their lane is concerned, they're doing a little bit more because they're catering to where are we? West East. So they're catering to the East Side more because they understand the culture. The Japanese culture has always been a mobile culture. You see how the sales for mobile stuff has gone, and we've had that conversation in the past. So why not build a console that does both? Okay,
Right.
and it does both pretty well because I did the mobile Zelda. It wasn't my thing because I was sitting at the kiosk,
Right. Which
to
is kinda
play
weird.
the game.
Yeah.
Right. But in terms of doing it well, it does it really well. Zelda played well. Street Fighter on the Pro Controller played well because I know that's your thing for your
You
people.
see, you said
And
Pro
I had-
Controller.
Yeah.
So that means that D-pad, was that D-pad functional? That D-pad
it was functional.
looked like it was made for Tinkerbell.
I did some damage.
That thing
I did
looked
some
ridiculous.
damage. I did some damage. No, the Pro Controller is fine.
No, I'm not talking
'cause
about the Pro Controller. I'm talking about the regular. I think I forgot what they
Oh,
named them.
you mean the Joy-Con? The Joy-Con is small, bro.
Yes,
the Joy-Con
okay.
is small. It
Because I
is
was
small.
just like, that's ridiculous.
But the thing is, the thing I really like, it puts you in a position to be very close and intimate to the individuals that you're playing with, right? Because if we're looking at on the same screen and then the Switch is on the table and we're doing the Joy-Con, we're looking at the same screen, we can have some good couch type co-op stuff again. They're doing that family close and personal feel for and I get it and
no, that makes sense because they
Right.
did a masterful job at that with the
they
Wii.
did that
Yeah.
and it works. And it works for them. It's not necessarily going to work for some of the games that we play, whether it's on Xbox One or a PlayStation 4. I mean, it could, depending if there's a two-player, type of environment for that particular platform or whatever it is. But they did it well. They did it well. I did Mario Kart Arena type game with my daughter when I was there. The Switch was on the table and we were doing the Joy-Con thing. I did the Zelda with the regular Pro Controller, and I did Zelda on the mobile version platform. Street Fighter was on the Pro Controller. Dude, they're doing their thing, man. I'm not gonna look at sales because I know I usually do the sale number stuff depending on what's
Right,
happening
right.
with the company, but sales doesn't make my heart sing. Okay, statistics I enjoy because I like talking about numbers and stuff like that. But when the system actually gets to your home, it's a whole nother conversation. And I think we have to stop lying to ourselves because we have the ability to analyze these things. Okay, that we go away from actually enjoying the Xbox or the PlayStation or the Switch or whatever it's going to be for us.
You see, and to hop directly on that statement of like stop lying to ourselves, I feel like that's what a lot of Nintendo people do. They lie to themselves because like they'll look at someone like me who loves Nintendo, and because I'm a detractor at a certain point, they'll like, oh, like you're just hating or you don't love Nintendo. It's like, no, it's not that. I love Nintendo, but I also experience, like I said, like I made on a podcast. I used to be an ASM at GameStop back in New York. At for a short while, that's how I met Khalif. That's how I met a lot of my friends now, and we had this discussion. I was just like, dude, I remember people would come in time after time. I can't tell you how many used Nintendo systems, particularly Wii, that we had, and people would tell me this. So this is so there's a difference between someone being like a fanboy
Right.
or fanning out over Nintendo and me actually listening to the consumer.
Right.
It's not to say that the fanboys aren't consumers, but there's two very different perspectives. So the people who are buying it, they're like, oh, I don't have Nintendo. Like, I love Nintendo. It's a gaming system. And, they believed all the marketing and the marketing work, and they went out and picked up the system. But all these people who are coming back and trading the system, they're like, I don't play this.
Right.
Like,
okay. So now the thing that's interesting about that is this may be completely off, but sometimes my mind kind of connects stuff, and I thank God for that. Is the Charles Barkley and LeBron James stuff, right?
Oh.
Charles Barkley was speaking directly from who he really is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in context with what he really does.
Right.
LeBron James went to Google, okay, and said what he said about personal stuff about Barkley.
Right.
But Charles Barkley was speaking directly from who he was and is as an individual. Now whose brand was affected? Okay, now LeBron thinks that just because he went and did those things that, he doesn't want his legacy to be affected. But now your legacy and brand is tied to the fact that you went and dug up some old information, which is true, personal information, just to be, who's pettier there? You see what I'm saying?
True.
So now when you speak, my point is when you speak directly from who you really are, then it doesn't matter what anybody says about whatever console that you're playing or not playing. That's why the last conversation that we had, and it's coming back to me right now, is I'm not playing Xbox One right now. And I explained to you why. Because the OSD doesn't match what I'm pressing on the D-pad.
Right.
It doesn't. Okay, but for PlayStation, if I compare that to PlayStation 3 with the Xbox One, I would much rather use the PlayStation 3 cross-media bar, okay? All right? Versus the actual
XMB.
stuff that's happening, versus the actual stuff that's happening on Xbox One right now, which is why it was easy for me to transition from the PS3 to the 4 because the OSD is just smooth. It's liquid butter, man.
Right. It's weird, and it's funny that you're talking about like Xbox too, and this all ties in because that's one of the reasons why I didn't get an Xbox. And even though I wanted to, like, I was thinking about getting one, I always go to the story, that experience that I had like years ago where I bought an Xbox Elite and then it red ringed on me. And like, I knew about the background, like, Microsoft knowing that this was an issue. And I remember getting really upset, and I was just like, you guys knew that this was an issue. You sold it to us anyway. Then you brought out the quote unquote Elite, in which the problem was supposed to be fixed and it never was fixed. And I was just like, I'm not buying this product. Like, I just feel disrespected as a customer. And I just never went back and purchased the product. And even today when I'm looking at the Scorpio or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it looks interesting, but I can never kind of like, if I'm speaking from my own truth and I'm speaking for myself, like, I would be uncomfortable. It would feel uncomfortable for me to go out and spend $300-400 on an Xbox system.
Right.
Because I have this fear like, oh, this is not going to work. Like, this is going to just end up being a brick. And there's going to be some kind of like weirdo issue. And I know everybody's listening is like, oh, that doesn't happen anymore, blah, 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 blah. But you got to think within context of like everyone's own experience, like, because they have people who don't play PlayStation. Why? Because when the PlayStation, Sony got hacked, they had issues with that, and then they went to Microsoft, and then they never looked back, Right. So it's only fear that I'm on the other side.
Right. When PlayStation got hacked, the big one to me for the first time or whatever, that's when I got my PlayStation 3, so I couldn't really do anything that whole time. And that was still the ending period of when you were still doing multiple updates on the PlayStation 3, waiting for hours just for that to happen and finish, versus the Xbox 360 doing its thing. Now, to me, it's the other way around. This is my personal experience, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, I only turn on the Xbox One to do updates and see what's going on and see if they updated the actual display, the OSD, and I think they're working to make that better. I guess in recent news or whatever. But there's no game that's really pulling me to play there. And then when we talked about as far as games, what I'm currently playing now, it's either Destiny or Shovel Knight, and Shovel Knight is a retro joint. Yeah,
retro fun game. Yeah, I remember you sent me the link to that.
Right, and Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine looks really dope because Rise and Shine is on the Xbox One. That I was looking at, I was like, man, that's Metal Slug versus mixed in with shmup design. Mixed in with some kind of platformer joint. I'm like, yo, that looks dope. But my thing is, am I going to be stressed out just to get through the menu, just to get to the game? And
Right.
that's how I'm thinking, and sometimes that's a turnoff, it's just a turnoff
Right.
for me.
Absolutely.
But I'm honest about that, and I think they just released Double Dragon 4 for PlayStation 4 and PC. That's an old, throwback. But, so stuff like that, when you have options, you exercise the options that you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, folks, before we springboard, because you're bringing up video games, and this is going to be the last, this is exactly how I wanted to end it, us talking about games and what we're playing currently. To springboard, I don't hate Nintendo, but you got to remember, if everyone was to look back who had a Wii, you got to be honest with yourself. After a couple months, that thing was just sitting there. And that's not hate, but that's just honesty. But you can't, at the very same token, I can say that for everyone that I know who played it for those like only 2 or 3 months, they absolutely enjoyed the system.
Do you know why?
Accomplished exactly what it was set out to do: family, engaging with friends, and so on and so forth. And they did it, and that's undeniable.
Because they lost weight, they felt great, and there was no reason to play the Wii anymore. That was it.
Yeah, true. There is that too. So now you're talking about games, and I was gonna ask you, like, what are you playing right now? I know you said I know you're a Destiny nut. We know that for sure.
Yeah, I love Destiny. Man. I don't know
Shovel
why,
Knight.
but I just do. Shovel Knight is dope.
Like,
Shovel Knight is just
so
dope.
what else? Like, what other games out there? I know I'm not gonna ask about Resident Evil because I know that you don't do horror. We mentioned this last
I'm a
time.
scaredy cat. I don't do.
Yeah. I know
After
you said
Resident
that.
Evil 1, I just I appreciate what it does, and the fact that they were able to tie in VR so well with Resident Evil of what they their direction for it, and it worked for that. But to me, I'm not spending $300 or whatever $399 for VR just to play Resident Evil. Along with the game plus $60. I'm not doing that. But I appreciate
I'm not doing
I
that.
appreciate that. I appreciate what they're doing. But aside from that, man, once in a while I jump into Journey. It's an old classic, because that's still on the thing. Uncharted Collection, Uncharted and Uncharted 4 still have that. Shovel Knight, I keep it basic, man. And then just watching movies and trying to create more video. That's my focus right now. And to watch stuff, because there's a company that I'm actually looking into right now, because they actually have an email for influencer relations, and hopefully that when I hit them up, they'll see my recent post and be like, oh, okay, so this cat is trying to do the jump off with the watches. We'll work with him, we'll collab with him. So I'm trying to mix it up, like that. And that's pretty much focus right now, is just having fun with content, and then just putting out. And I believe if I build it, they will come, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like, I agree. Like, like I said last time, it's a lot of retro games for me right now, and I'm about to do another commercial for the homies who host ST, but that's the game. And when I say ST, for some of you who may not know, I'm talking about Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo. And in the community we just call it ST for short. Super Turbo, man. Dude, and I gotta shout them out. Again. Big ups to the homies, El Trouble, aka Eugene, Miller Time, aka Killer Miller, the homie Sharon, everyone else in the background on that squad who I may not know or remember your name at the moment, but specifically, Miller. Miller is the one who was like, "Hey, Milton, you got to play some ST." And I remember I played the game and I just fell in love with it all over again. Then a couple weeks ago, I played again, and I just got to tell you, man, like, the game that I'm enjoying the most, Super Turbo, man. Super Turbo is such an amazing game. And I'm going to say this and you guys are going to laugh. Super Turbo, in terms of shooters, Metal Slug.
Metal Slug is dope, man.
So much fun.
Always been dope.
Dude,
Metal Slug has always been dope.
Like, absolute ball playing Metal Slug.
You know what I saw the other day, man? I gotta throw that in, because you were saying there was a conversation I was having with you where, like, you were talking about Smash, and you were talking about Smash, and then I watched a video where these cats were playing Smash, and dude, my heart was racing, bro. Like,
right?
Yo, they get busy in Smash, man.
Listen, check out the episode that I did with the homie 2GG Bam from Smash, man. I learned so much, and hopefully soon, they're connecting me to the Smash community, so I'm going to have a lot of other Smash people coming on in the show and spreading the good gospel of Smash. Dude,
they're exciting
very,
to
very
watch,
exciting.
Man.
Very exciting. Listen, I almost caught a heart attack watching Smash being played at Evo. Like, I was hyped. You could not tell me nothing. I was super hyped. Like, and the Smash community, awesome. Like, I was just like so hyped over that thing. I'm trying to. I think I might want to get like an old GameCube or like a Wii U to play Smash and play Melee.
So that's what they're playing it on? That's what they're playing?
Yeah. So and let me make this distinction because I don't want anybody from the community to kill me. So even within the Smash community, the quote unquote Smash community, there's two sides. There's the Melee and then there's the Smash, which is like on Wii U.
Okay.
You know, so there's like people who say like, you know, super like Smash 4 and all these different things like that, but those are the newer consoles. And then there's people who just strictly play Melee, as everyone knows, that was like on the GameCube. So there is that difference, and you know, but they're not like other parts of the FGC. So when you say Smash, people kind of understand or you know, they'll correct you, but not in like a negative way. They're like, oh no, like, you know, I only play Melee, or this person only plays Melee and this person is like a Smasher, that kind of thing.
So
but,
is it like fanboys versus regular gamers that just enjoy games kind of thing?
I don't. It's weird. It's like, no, they're like legit FGC heads.
Okay, gotcha.
No, yeah, they're like. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that for you know, for those of you who may not understand. It's just like there's the FGC. FGC just means fighting game community. However, because of you know, Evo and all these different things that's been going on in the last couple of years and the spread of quote unquote esports, when people think FGC, they're only mainly thinking like Street Fighter. They're starting to think like Tekken. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That kind of thing. But Smash is definitely a part of the FGC.
Okay, so
definitely.
Then it's like Super Street Fighter 4 versus the individuals who are playing the new one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it's the same. FGC is the same people who love Street Fighter, but you just have you enjoy this iteration of the game.
Right. You have the faithful for one versus the other. Precisely.
That's all it is. But like, great community. Love those guys. I'm gonna try to get into that soon. But for right now, again, it's oh man, you made me like, I'm like losing it here right now. It's Metal Slug. It's Super Turbo, and I have to say it, but it's also very much Skyrim right now as well too, which is like my crack, and I can't.
I've never really played that game, man.
Dude, Skyrim is so amazing.
Yeah, I never got into it.
I bought the same game twice because I had it for PlayStation 3. So think about that. Like, and I just bought it again just because. And I didn't even buy the digital. I actually bought the physical copy. Which cost me an extra
What is it about
$5.
Skyrim that still got you, you know, digging it like that?
The story, the open world, and most importantly, and some people may not, you know, some of you may not understand this, being able to create a character that looks like me.
Okay. No, that's cool.
Being able to play, especially being a person of color, you know, for my female listeners, you're going to know what I'm talking about from that aspect. Being able to create a character, because the default in games is usually white dude.
Right.
You know, so finally being able to play and create a character that looks like me, I mean, it's just amazing, man. And I love that. And it's like, it's the same thing with Dragon Age. I loved it for that. The story was good and all those other things were great. But what, you know, every time I saw myself like on the screen or being able to create a character that looks like some kind of like a facsimile of me, it's just like, I really enjoyed it. You know, Dragon's Dogma, all those kind of games. Like, and I just love RPGs in general.
That was good.
As well,
I like that one. That one I liked.
Yeah, you know, Dragon's Dogma. Like, I just love that. But, you know, and what's, you know, the magical sprinkles on the top for me is always the ability to play and see myself in a game. Which, right, as you know, over the, you know, it's the gaming industry hasn't been kind to us in that way in terms of representation. So it's always dope to me to be able to do that. So it's
You're
great,
right,
man. And I love it.
Absolutely.
I really, really love it. But before we get out of here, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show, man. I really appreciate you coming on again and doing this second recording with me.
Anytime you want, man. You already know that. Anytime, man.
Yeah, for sure. You know, once you press the stop button, hopefully, you know, the technology gods don't, you know, give us the thumbs down again. I know, right? That was so cold-blooded, man. Before you get out of here, though, let everyone know exactly where they can find you, man.
Well, yeah, actually, I'm gonna switch it up this week. I don't want anybody to check out anything that I'm doing until they leave a review for your show.
Oh, you hear that, guys?
Yeah,
you hear that?
I'm no promotion today. Just glad to be here, and please consider leaving a review for Slovenly Gamer. especially if you listen to at least 1 or 2 episodes already and you've been an avid listener to this particular show, definitely support them before you look at any of my stuff, please. That's my call to action.
Thank you so much, brother. And let me reiterate that for you guys. You guys know where to find me. Everywhere it's at Slovenly Gamer, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere. Slovenly Gamer, I'm the dude with the really, really dope Sonic the Hedgehog inspired art. Again, if you're listening on iTunes, please remember to like, share, subscribe, rate the show, share it, spread the love, come on board, tweet at me. If you got, ideas that you would like for me to talk about, please tweet them at me. You can DM me. I'm always open for conversation. And as always, thank you guys so very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I'm going to think about what outro music I'm going to play right now. I don't know, but it's going to be something dope. Peace.
Metal Slug.
Oh.
Metal Slug.